First off, welcome to my little webinar. First, maybe the last. Depends on how horrible this goes or not. But people said there's something different about me, and I just want to address that. As I got new glasses, so my glasses are different. They used to be like a purplish gray color. Now they're more of this bluish gray purple color. So new glasses. So just want to get that out of the way, that there is something a little bit different. So today we're going to do, or this week, your lesson is going to be on the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918. And so what you're going to do is you'll have it on OneNote. So if you go into OneNote, this will be in the very top of OneNote. Copy it. You can paste it into your notes. You can fill out the notes. And then your very last project we'll do that by the end of the week, Friday, is to write a essay, a report on the Spanish flu epidemic, which there will be a ton of information in here you can use. You can go online and read more information, watch more videos. In the OneNote here, there is a ton more information just to the right here. Bunch of resources you could use. And if you go online, you'll find there's more than this out there. Get that come back. So Spanish epidemic flu, that's your lesson for the week. It will cover biology, world history, geography, health. We're all going to do this one together, mainly because I'm still trying to figure out the program. And it does cover all the topics, luckily. It's one topic that covers all my classes. So this is the assignment for this week will be on the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918. Your goal would be to fill in the notes, read the sections, answer the questions, watch the videos, answer the sections, and your main points will come from, at the end of the week, writing a 1, 2, or 3 paragraph report on the Spanish flu epidemic, depending on what grade you're in. How many paragraphs you're going to need. So let me go ahead and get started here. So here's the notes. So basically at the end of World War I, there was a epidemic. I'm on the wrong one here. There was a worldwide epidemic on the Spanish flu. So at the end of World War I, post means after, there was a huge pandemic flu that spread across the world, that lots and lots of people got sick and died in almost every country and definitely on every continent in the world. So at the end of the war, what they're finding is that just like any war, you're going to need lots of soldiers. And there's lots of soldiers from many different countries all come together in one spot. And basically in the war, most of the time English would fight with the English soldiers, the French soldiers would fight with the French soldiers, the American soldiers would fight with the American soldiers. But what happens if they had a battle and all the English are here, the French are here, and the Americans here, and they won the battle, the wounded would all go back to basically the same hospitals. So the hospitals would have everybody in them. So you might have one hospital that has 2 or 3 different countries of soldiers, and right next door would be another hospital, 2, 3 countries, and the nurses would go back and forth. The doctors would go back and forth. The cooks would go back and forth. And so at the hospitals where the diseases would spread really easily, well, if you look at a lot of the pictures from that time period, the beds in the hospital are side by side, and diseases could spread very, very quickly. So by the end of World War I, the soldiers were fighting in Europe, and they started to spread the flu worldwide. That's what really caused it to go worldwide. Otherwise, it may have probably just wherever it started. They think it could have started in America, could have started in China. They don't really know exactly where it started. But wherever it started, it probably would have stayed localized if there wouldn't have been a world war and it wasn't a situation where so many men were so close together. It may have not spread so rapidly. And the main thing here, was a virus, and they called it the flu, and it was influenza flu. And it's killed millions of people during the time period was from 1918 to about 1920. the summer of 1919 is about when it started to wrap up. And so go ahead and you can take those notes. If you need to pause the video, you can't see this part. I got to scroll up a little bit. So if you need to ever pause the video to finish the notes, just pause the video, finish your notes. All right, so what we're going to do now, we'll go ahead and go to this website. So we're going to go to the CDC website, which has very good factual information. And really, if you go to this website, there's tons of links you can go on, a ton of places you could go to that will have more information than you'll ever want to have. You can go down to the bottom here, and it talks about the pandemic of 1918. Has a ton of information, way more than we'll cover. So when you write your report, you may want to go back and go through this different information for the pandemic. Again, soldiers, close contact. This one guy here, sick, spread to that guy. That guy is just, it'll spread rapidly. And the bed, this is toward the end when the influenza was actually starting to spread, so they were getting smarter and putting up these blankets to help keep it from spreading. But before then, it was even tighter, closer together than that. All right, so the next part we're going to go to here is if you can go to this website and we'll read this information together. So the 1918, starting right here, the 1918 influenza pandemic was the most severe pandemic in recent history. It was caused by the H1N1 virus with the genes of an avian origin. Although there is not universal consensus regarding where the virus originated, it spread worldwide during the 1918 to 1919 in the United States. It was first identified in a military personnel in spring of 1918. It was estimated that about 500 million people, or 1/3 of the world's population, became infected with the virus. Not that many died, but that many people got sick. The number of deaths was estimated to be around 50 million worldwide, with about 675,000 occurring in the United States. This is one of the reasons right now with the coronavirus, there's been so much care. You're at home, I'm at home, is we don't want this to happen again. This happened about 100 years ago. People are like, oh my OMG, this happened 100 years ago. It can happen today. So, and it's one of the reasons why a lot of the leaders are overreacting rather than underreacting, and putting us all on quarantine that we're on now. So we'll keep on going. So there's a little video. What I'd like you to do is go ahead and pause this, watch this video, and then you're going to answer these two questions on the bottom. According to the video, how many Americans died from the Spanish flu? And according to the video, how many people worldwide died from the Spanish flu? So go ahead and pause this and then answer those two questions in the notes here. So you should have had the video paused. You should answer those two questions in your notes. Let me fix this real quick. And next thing we're going to have you do is go ahead and Google search and look up the definitions for influenza. So word here is influenza and pandemic. So go ahead and Google search, put the definitions of those two words in there. Again, hit pause whenever you got to do work, and then come back to me afterwards, and I'll be here waiting for you with my smile sometimes. And then we'll keep going on, and just to help you out, if you go to this website now, if you go to that website, you'll read about a whole bunch of information. But if you scroll down a little ways, you'll come to this section here. It says, "What is the flu?" And we'll read this together. Influenza, or the flu, is a virus that attacks the respiratory system. The flu virus is highly contagious. When an affected person coughs, sneezes, or talks, respiratory droplets, kind of like when you sneeze, your hand gets wet, that would be a respiratory droplet, so moisture that comes out of your mouth. Respiratory droplets are generated and transmitted into the air. So again, you sneeze, your hand gets wet. If you don't cover your hand, you sneeze, all that moisture, all those droplets go out into the air. And some of them are very small and they can actually travel a long ways. Some of them are larger, like raindrops, and are going to get heavy and they'll fall by gravity. But some are going to be really small and lightweight that actually will travel for quite a ways before they land. Are generated and transmitted into the air and can be inhaled by anyone nearby. So that would have been a really good definition for an influenza if you would have found it. If you didn't find it, there it is. Put it in your own words. Additionally, a person who touches something with the virus on it and then touches his or her mouth, eyes, or nose can become infected. There's another good word. It's not guaranteed, but you can. The chances go higher. So again, you sneeze yourself. You sneeze on your hand's wet from your sneeze. You touch the doorknob. Somebody walks right behind you, grabs the doorknob. Now their hand has your moisture on it from your hand sneezing, and that you can transmit it just like that. Or vice versa. If you're behind the person that was just sneezing, you can get it from them as well. All right. Let's just keep on moving on here. This is very new to me, doing it this way. So the question is, what are some ways the flu can go from one person to another person? You don't have to use this sentence, but it's a starter sentence. The flu can transmit from one person to another by blank, blank, and blank. Can go ahead and pause the video and answer that question. Welcome back. All right, so go ahead and keep on moving along. Once again, this is going, if you just watch this live, it's pretty quick. What you should do is pause it and go through each of these steps. So go ahead and watch this video, and when you're watching it, you should be thinking of the question, why was it called the Spanish flu? Once you find that answer in the video, you can go ahead and answer that question. Why was it called the Spanish flu? All right, so you should be back now from pausing it after you watch the video. You should just watch the whole video, and then you should answer that question. And you can go to the website, from the history website that we were just on, and scroll down a little farther, and it says, why was the Spanish flu called the Spanish flu? And so the answer you should have wrote was, the Spanish flu did not originate in Spain, though news coverage of it did. During World War I, Spain was a neutral country, meaning they didn't fight for either side. They had no soldiers that were fighting in the war. With a free media, meaning the news outlets were free. They can report anything they want. Like if you go to China today, they don't have a free media. In China, you can't report whatever you want. If you report misinformation in China, you could literally go to jail. So in Spain, they're saying they had free media, meaning you were allowed, like in America, you can write and say whatever you wanted to say. That covered the outbreak from the start, first reporting it in the Madrid, capital of Spain, Madrid, in the May of 1918. Meanwhile, allied countries and the Central Powers had wartime censors who covered up the news of the flu to keep morale high. Because Spain's news sources were the only ones reporting on the flu, many believed it originated there. The Spanish meanwhile believed that the virus came from France and called it the French flu. So that's how it got the name the Spanish flu. And also the King of Spain conducted the virus. So then it became really big news when the king got sick, and then everybody related the sickness to Spain. It became known as the Spanish flu, although it didn't start or end in Spain, but it became known as the Spanish flu. All right, so what I'd like you to do now is if you would list 5 different ways you could prevent the spread of the disease. There's 5 ways you can help to prevent or stop the spread of any disease, not just right now the coronavirus. We're talking about this is talking about the Spanish flu, which is also a virus, or the coronavirus, or even the common cold. What are 5 ways you can stop the spread? Like the little picture here, the cute little picture of the baby saying, "Please don't kiss me," right? Saying, "Don't spread the diseases to me." What are some 5 ways? Go ahead and pause it. List those 5 ways. So hopefully you thought of 5. Washing hands would be a good one. sneezing into your elbow now, so it's not on your hand. So before we used to sneeze in our hands, and our hands had the disease on it. We grab the doorknobs bad. So now we've learned that this is just like in the last 20 years. It's better to cough into your elbow, and then your hands are still clean, right? So don't touch your nose, don't touch your eyes or your mouth. It's another good way of not spreading diseases. Washing your hands frequently, using hand sanitizer. If you are sick, stay home. If you know of somebody else who is sick, try to avoid them as much as possible. I'm sure you probably come up with one or two other ideas as well. All right, so now we're going to the CDC website. And then read the timeline of the Spanish flu pandemic. So if you go to the CDC website, you'll see a timeline that looks a lot like this one. So if you go through, you can read through what happened each year. And the questions that you'll want to answer is give the dates and facts of 2 of the bullet points. So as you're going through and reading the timeline, go ahead and give down 2 dates and facts that you read about. And then the last one is in 1919, what did this state of Illinois do to help with the shortage of nurses? Because one of the things is, just like in this picture here, the people on the front lines, just like today, people on the front lines, they're more likely to get sick than the rest of us because they're in the hospital rooms with the individuals who are sick. So this one nurse here is in a room with all these sick people. So the chances of her getting sick go way, way up, right? And so the state of Illinois wanted to find a way they can help out with that shortage of nurses. So going in and finding the date 1919, you should be able to figure out what they did. Which is way on the bottom of the timeline. Again, here's another good example of why nurses and doctors are so more likely to get sick. I just read an article today about the doctors in Italy. There's a lot of deaths in Italy because of the coronavirus. There was I think they said over 100 doctors have died now in Italy because of the coronavirus being right there on the front lines. The unsung heroes right now, the nurses and doctors, and even the cashiers at the grocery stores, and truck drivers. We have a friend who's a truck driver. He's a truck driver for food, so he's definitely on the front lines right now, more likely to get sick than the rest of us who are staying home. All right. So again, you don't do this on the first day. You should probably on Wednesday or Thursday after you've gone through and read all this information, watched all these videos, took the notes, answered the questions, all in your OneNote, right? It should be on week 1 in your OneNote. You're going to write. You're going to write a report on the Spanish flu from 1918, right? The Spanish flu of 1918. And basically what we're going to do is 9th graders, you need to do 1 paragraph. 10th graders, you got to do at least 2 paragraphs. And if you're in 11th or 12th grade, you need to be doing 3 paragraphs on a report on that. If you do more than your assigned number of paragraphs, you'll get extra credit. So if you're going to do more, if you 2, 3, or 4 paragraphs, you'll get extra credit for those as well. So that'll be, hopefully you can finish this up by Friday. And again, you're going to stick this all your work should be in your OneNote. Put it all in the OneNote. Just write it in there, right? If you have any questions, I'll be on my office hours from 11 to 12 on Schoology, and you can email me, you can text me, and I'll try to answer those best I can. And if a lot of people have the same questions, I'll make a video on it and answer it in a video. And have a good day.